Welcome. Today we're going to have a short, I hope short, I don't always do well with short. I'm going to try to be short. Just a short workshop, and I'm going to break it into two sessions. So in the first session, we are going to talk about some beginners basics for using Pinterest for your business. And your business, your ministry, whatever you think of your website, a blog, a website, you imagine, whatever that means for you. We're going to talk about making sure that you have a business account rather than a personal account. We're going to talk about enabling rich pins, what that means, what that'll look like, how that's going to help you as you are trying to get in front of your audience, the people who really God has put there to see your content. We have to help them find it. We're going to talk about keywords within your profile page, so your author bio, your board descriptions. We're going to talk about having relevant boards for where you're going to pin your pins. And then we're going to talk about how to set them so that people can come very quickly to find your blog content specifically, or your shop content, or whatever it is that's the highest priority with you. Okay, so before we start, if there's anybody new, there are so many people in the group, let me just introduce myself to you. My name is Tiffany Montgomery, and I am the author at hopejoyinchrist.com. There, I write for wives and moms, specifically encouraging them and equipping them just to keep their eyes fixed on Christ through all the chaos that comes within our daily lives. Okay, now here I just have a heart and a passion to encourage other content creators, bloggers, authors, business women, or men. So far it's just women, I'll just say. As we kind of pursue our calling online, sometimes it feels like it's very lonely. And sometimes it feels like it's very competitive. Like, I need help to figure out XYZ. So-and-so knows about XYZ, but that's also her business. And so nothing against her, but she needs that. And I can't always afford to do it that way. And so some of the basic things, for the most part, I have trolled YouTube and Pinterest to find how to do it the hard way, just like try it, it failed, try it, it failed, until I came to something that worked. And then I just continued on. And then I've also been able to connect with other bloggers who just live generously with their knowledge and skill set, and that has blessed me. And so that's what I want to do. That's the passion that I have in cultivating this group. You all are all women that God has put along my path for whatever reason, and we are all at different places along our journey. Some are much further ahead than I am. Some are a little bit further behind in one area but are soaring in others. And so as I just come to you to share things, I hope you always know that that is my heart, is just to give you a step up from, where you are. And I try not to just make pointless videos. It's always to answer a specific question, a specific need. And I have been getting a lot of questions about Pinterest. Specifically, as we have done this Pinterest challenge a couple of months in a row, there are several of you who have said to me, my Pinterest account is just really not there yet. I don't have 30 good quality, original, unique pins that could go back to my blog to match the criteria. And so let's fix that. And you've had a lot of how-to, and I don't know, and so that's what I'm going to tackle. So let's start with the basic. I dropped a link in the Facebook group, but I'll make sure to link it into this when it uploads to YouTube as well. Make sure you have a business account, okay? And I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what the difference is and why it matters. Share my screen. I'm going to share my whole screen with you, and I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a lot of projects, so there are a lot of things open. All right, now let's start with my personal Pinterest account. Now, I use Pinterest personally. I love Pinterest, but my interests and hobbies are very eclectic, and they do not match my blog. some of them do, you know, obviously I write from my life and my experience, but a lot of it doesn't. So this is my personal Pinterest page. All right, so as we come up to it, it looks like, you know, you can search Pinterest. It's got pins here according to things that I would enjoy and like. Okay, and up here, just the regular things. Who am I following? I could explore Pinterest. Here's my Pinterest profile. I can go here. Okay, and it's just going to show you a little bit about me. It's going to show you my boards. And that's all great and wonderful, except that, you know what, I pin a lot. I pin a lot of things. Okay. Now, I have gotten away from using my personal board just because I don't have enough time to keep up with both. Blogging really takes on a lot of time, which is fine, but sometimes I still need to go over and find, you know, whatever was interesting to me. Now, let's compare that to a business page. Okay. This is my business Pinterest profile, account, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Up here in the top left corner, you can see what sets it apart. All right. Now it's going to tell me how many pins I have, how many boards I have, how many monthly viewers I have. It also tells me analytics. Okay. So when you have a business account, Pinterest will analyze your traffic, will tell you what pins are doing well, what boards are doing well, so you can go in and look and make changes if you need to. You don't have that with a personal account. Now, it takes all of 10 minutes to set it up as a business page. And I started a unique business page because I didn't want to lose my personal page or have to kind of use them both that way. And anyway, that was a personal choice. But you can actually convert your personal page to a business page. Okay, it's in the link that I dropped in. Check it out. It takes 5 minutes. It does take a couple of days for Pinterest to verify and authenticate and connect your website to the business profile. Okay, so make sure that you have given yourself a little grace as they, you know, ping things back and send, you know, all of the spiders to crawl your site, which is hilarious. Who thought to call it that? Anyway, not the point. Okay, so we are talking about the importance. So it's important to have a business account. You can also run ads on your business account. I haven't. That's not kind of where I have money. I don't have money. So I need to do this blogging thing in a way that's inexpensive as possible and still add value. Okay. All right. So you have a business account. The next thing you need is to have rich pins. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the difference between a rich pin and not a rich pin. Okay. So you can very quickly see why you want to have rich pins. Okay. Let's look back at my personal account because you can see it more easily there. Okay, so as we're scrolling along through the pins here, look, now I do sometimes go in and pin my own content. That's not going to help me not find rich pins because those are going to be rich pins. Let's go into a board that's probably not going to be. Okay, let's look at some of the pins here. Well, goodness. Listen, I should have been really good. Let's find one that has lots of them. Let's do gift ideas. That might do it. All right, so we're looking, okay, at these pins, and you see some of them have hashtags, which are popular on Pinterest. Awesome, lovely. We can use hashtags. We're all good at that if we're Instagram junkies. Not that there's anything wrong with Instagram. I love Instagram. So I thought I had one really good. Let's look at the homeschool stuff. Okay. All right, so we're looking, all right, and we're looking, and in a pin, we can see that the pins have hashtags, they have bold descriptions. All right, so let's go down to some that don't. I think we're getting pretty good at this. So I apparently pin from a lot of very good bloggers because they're telling me what's going on here. Well, if I can't find a non-rich pin, maybe I'm just gonna, okay, so let's look over here. This probably is not a rich pin. All right, when I look at this, it doesn't tell me what website it came from, and there's not a bold pin description. So if we go back, we can contrast that here. So we see this pin has got a lot of detail and description. It's got a little header here that told me what it is. It's in bold. It's going to stand out and get more attention in the feed. Okay, so that is the point of a rich pin, and it takes just a few minutes to set up rich pins. You literally go to this website, the developers.pinterest.com tools URL debugger, and I will drop that in the comments as well so you see it. All you need is a link to one post on your site, okay, that has a good pin, and you put the URL there and click validate. And Pinterest is gonna take a day or two probably. Honestly, I think it took about a week when I set it up last year for them to go look at the pin to decide if it, qualifies for whatever their criteria are. They want you to have a description in your metadata so that they know that you're, gonna come over here and have good quality pins for them. At the time, I was not doing vertical pins consistently, so that didn't really matter. And then once you have rich pins, your pins, when they come over, are going to be bold. They're going to get preference in the smart feed. They're going to start to see you as an influencer, and so that means that your pins will be sort of at the top of the list. It's also going to help your users when they're coming in looking for things, searching for things as they're scrolling through, right? Because that's all they're doing. They're just scrolling through their feed, not your page, okay? And we're going to get to that in a minute. As they see pins that have that bold's going to stand out to them, okay? And they're going to click it first. It's going to get more attention than a non-rich pin. Okay, so you're going to set up a business account. You're going to validate. I've lost the word. You're going to enable rich pins. Okay, and then I want you to start thinking about Pinterest like your avatar is thinking about Pinterest. Okay, now it can take a little bit to have this just perspective shift. And if you don't use Pinterest, honestly, I would suggest that you use it for a little while and start to see how it works so you understand what your avatar is thinking about when he or she comes to Pinterest, okay? They're coming here not to be social, but to find help for something. They're looking for a how-to about a recipe, or not a recipe, about how to, how do they set up something on their blog? How do they fix something in their house? How do they help, that strong-willed child they're trying to wrangle? How do they, substitute ingredients in a recipe? Maybe they're looking for a recipe. Maybe they're looking for ideas about fixing a relationship. They're trying to find weight loss advice. They are going to come to Pinterest and they are going to search. Okay, and what are they going to search for? They're going to search for what they want to know about. And so when you're thinking about your avatar, first of all, have you really thought through who he or she is? Okay, when I'm creating content, I have a very specific person that I have in mind, and I direct all of my attention to thinking about how would I have this conversation with her if we were sitting for coffee. Okay, what questions would she ask? How could I answer those questions effectively? The same thing on Pinterest. When she's coming to Pinterest, what is she searching? Do you know, for me, I write a lot about marriage, and so she might be looking for marriage advice. Okay, now when I type in that first word, Pinterest is going to be super helpful. Okay, and this is kind of combining thinking about your avatar and thinking about keywords. Pinterest is going to give you some keyword ideas. Okay, when people come to Pinterest and they start to type it, Pinterest collects that data, and so they give you the top search results here for what people are searching. And you know what? We are lazy, busy people. And so if it's close to what I want, guess what? I'm not going to finish typing. I'm just going to go click, and then they're going to give you another list through here across the top. All right. So when I'm thinking about what is my avatar doing when she comes to Pinterest, this is probably what she's doing. And do you know what? I'm going to write Christian marriage advice. And so what else is she looking for here? Tips, things about God, quotes, free printables, relationships, these kind of things. All right. So when I am setting up my Pinterest profile and I'm thinking about my author bio, keywords in that, my boards, relevant board names, you know what? Let's make wise, smart choices and use keywords that will fit there so that when our avatar comes to Pinterest and she is searching these things, our content is going to pop up over and over and over again. Now, for the most part, your avatar, unless they are a raving fan, okay, or your mom or sister or best friend who wants to support you and wants to pin everything you pin, there are those. But for the most part, let's say 99% of the people who come to Pinterest looking for the kind of content that you're writing, they do not search for your Pinterest account, find you, and then go look at every pin you've ever done, judge your content. Has she pinned anything outside of, what her blog is about? They're not doing that. They just aren't. Maybe other bloggers are. Maybe, if you're thinking about marketing yourself for ads and other things, maybe they are coming to kind of check you out and make sure you're consistent. But by and large, your readers, they are not doing that. Okay, I hear a lot of bloggers very worried about the content they share, that it's not exactly what their blog is about. And I get that. And if that is part of a strategy and it's working for you to only ever pin exactly what your blog is about, go for it. It does not hurt me. I feel like my account and my exposure online grows even more. So when I share other people's content and help them, now I do share more of my own content than I share other people's content, but I don't worry about so much as long as it's, in a Christian wheelhouse. I don't worry about that it's a fitness blog instead of a marriage blog. If it's Christian related, probably the women that come and look for things are going to be blessed by seeing that a little bit and maybe find that person that helps them. Does that mean they're not going to still look for me? Absolutely not. There is more than enough room at the top for us to collaborate and share. And I'm getting into something else, so I'm going to stop. Remember that. I'm going to come back to that. Okay, so now let's say that they do stumble upon your profile page. You do want your profile page to reflect you. Okay, now if I'm going to say this is a preference thing and there are different schools of thought. Okay, now I keep a picture here. Okay, because I want to connect with my readers. I want them to feel like they know me. And that is because I write from a perspective of mentoring or a life coach very specifically. And so if that doesn't make sense for you, if you need it to be more of a businessy feel and you don't really want that kind of connection, it's not, your thing, that's cool. What works for me doesn't work for somebody else. What doesn't work, you know what I mean? Like, just do you, whatever that looks like. I'm just telling you, I prefer, even when I'm going to other bloggers' pages, I like to see their picture. But that is, again, that's my preference. I'm just going to tell you. Okay. I also want to know their name so that if I do want to reach out to them, I'm not, like, who is the author at hopejoyandchrist.com? I'm not sure. So for me, and through several workshops I've done, they suggest that in your little description here, you tell them your name and what it is you do. If you had to give your position a title, let's say you're not working for yourself as a blogger. Let's say you're in some fancy company and, top floor executive because you are awesome. You're going to have that corner office looking at it with a view. What is your title? What is it that they want you to do? What is that calling God has given you? For me, it is mentoring. Now, we've been playing around with the idea that we may change it and say life coach. But for right now, mentoring is just what God has in my heart. So I would say I'm a marriage, motherhood, and faith mentor. And I make sure they see my blog name. Now, I very specifically claim my blog's name on every platform. That way, if someone is looking for me very specifically, they can find me. So let's say you decide you're just going to change your personal account over to a business account. Okay, that's one of the downfalls because it's going to have your personal name, your person's name instead of your website. People can still absolutely find you. There are lots of ways. I just like to make it super simple. So you can find me at Hope, Joy, in Christ on Pinterest, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, not on Google Plus, because I haven't figured that out. Maybe one of y'all knows how to figure that out. Okay, so we're going to use our keywords. If people are looking for marriage mentoring and they throw that up in the keyword search, they will absolutely find this if they're looking under people. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, it's going to tell them your blog name. When you're setting up the business account, you can choose if you tell them where you are. I like them to know that I'm a real person, that I'm a relatable person. And if they're local to me, and I'm going to tell you what, they absolutely do reach out. When they see that I'm in Kentucky and they're in Kentucky, I can't tell you how many Kentucky groups I've been pulled into, and I love that because I'm in Kentucky and I tell people that. Kentucky girls, give a shout out. We support each other. That's just kind of a cool thing that says, hey, I'm a real person. I have a real physical place in the world. This is where I am. You can check me out. Okay, and then I threw in some hashtags. Honestly, I pulled this from a workshop. I don't even know, probably 6 months ago, and I'm going to go in and change some of it. And this was, at the time, pulling in how I wanted them to find me, but now that I better understand Pinterest and I want it to be what they're searching. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to move this so I can see where I'm at. I can't see it. I want to go to my settings. All right, now here's where you can change some of those basic things. All right, so we see this, and I want, okay, so you can change the name as it appears there. All right, you can tell it lots of stuff. All right, so about you. I'm still going to tell it I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, Christian marriage advice is one of the most searched pieces. All right, I am going to change this though because this has not been working for me. So I'm going to say motherhood advice, parenting tips, discipleship for women. Not really hitting this as much anymore, and so I'm going to take that out and be where I am. I talk about anxiety a lot, and then all right, now this is a link back to a subscriber form that I'm not using anymore, and it actually gets a lot of traffic. So another thing you need to think about when you're thinking about your avatar is thinking about, what do you want her to do? What is your goal from her? And so one of my goals very specifically is to direct traffic back to my website, okay? A platform for sharing socially doesn't matter to me unless it is sending traffic back to my website and growing my email list. And so Pinterest does this. And this is one of the reasons why. So in my About You, it tells them where they can go to learn more. So we're going to say forgiveness. And I'm going to do this. Sorry, I should have done it earlier, but the opt-in that is really working for me now is the one I want to link in there while we're doing this. And that, and then I want to make it smaller and cute so they know what they're doing. Let's copy it. Oh, where am I? See, too many screens open. All right, so, all right, so let's, make sure you keep it the right amount of characters. All right, I'm gonna tell it I'm in Louisville. That is absolutely where I want it to be. We're gonna save the settings. Okay, so we're gonna make sure we're using our keywords in our about. Okay, and then we're going to make sure that we're using our keywords to create and keep up with relevant boards. All right, so what do I mean by that? You should have one board that is just your blog post. You absolutely should save an image from every single blog post to a board that you have identified on your site. Okay. Now, I also keep a best of board because I don't just create vertical images. I create all kinds of images on my site. But for most sharing threads and challenges for Pinterest, they want vertical pins. And so I have a best of board. I also have a board for the marriage course I created. And then other things that I talk about or that fit within what my avatar is going to be searching for. Okay, now remember, we're not thinking about this. We have to have, two perspectives. Yes, we are a blogger and we need to, be true to that and do what we need to do, but we also need to be using Pinterest with our avatar in mind. Okay, we want to make sure we're getting inside of her head and what else is she looking for. All right, so homeschool is something that I talk about and resonates with my readers. And so I have several homeschooling boards. All right, I have lots of group boards. I have no control over what they're called, but I will absolutely try out group boards and see if they help my reach on Pinterest. And usually I will stay in them, honestly. People talk about not. And I haven't seen the downside of being in one that's not performing as well or not in your top performing one. So somebody will have to talk to me about that. That would be in an advanced session. That would be someone else leading because I'm so not in the advanced realm. Okay, I talk about anxiety. All right, so a keyword when you're thinking about anxiety, if we were just to come up here and anxiety. Okay, so now it used to be anxiety help, and now it has changed. Anxiety quotes, anxiety relief. If we just look at anxiety, it's going to tell us all kinds of other things, all right, that are here. Now, I kind of like relief. So, you know what? I'm going to edit this board. I'm going to change the name. Now, this doesn't, oh, I can't spell. Let's see, will it tell me if I spelled it wrong? Yeah, okay. All right, now it's going to not change anything except what it's called and the fact that if it's named well with a keyword, it'll pop up in their searches. But it's not going to change who follows it. It's not going to change how its analytics are tracked at all. We can always go in and update that, kind of do spring cleaning within our Pinterest boards, okay? So make sure it has a good SEO name. Okay, and then make sure it has a description. All right, what's going to be in this board? It's going to be help with anxiety. It's going to have PTSD, mental illness, self-care, okay, different things that you want people who are searching for things, right? We're thinking about our avatar. What is she searching for? What does she need? And how does this board fit that need, okay? And that's what it is, right? You can give it a category. You can change the cover if you want it to have a different image. I've kind of played around with that, but Pinterest is always changing the sizes and the ways that your images is. So it kind of makes a mess for me. Okay, and then let's look at this. It says secret. All right, let's say you have a board that is just for you. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with your blog, and maybe you don't want to have two accounts. So this is kind of what I've gone more toward. I use this for things that have absolutely nothing to do with my avatar and absolutely nothing to do with my site. Okay, you can make it secret. It still does track analytics, but people don't come in and see it. Or if you have a board that is just tanking, like you tried it this way, it didn't work, you thought your avatar would love this and it didn't work, you can come in here and mark it a secret. Never, ever, ever, ever delete it. Okay, they say that that kills your analytics, and if people were only, like they found that board but they didn't find you, and you pinned to that board so they're following you, it helps your numbers and can hurt your numbers if you just delete it. All right, so if you're collaborating, you can add that here, but for this particular one, I don't collaborate. Okay, so you can save it and it'll be done. All right, so relevant boards. What is it that you write about and what is it that your avatar is looking for? Okay, let's line those things up. Give our board names keywords, give our board descriptions keywords, okay? And if you're like, oh, shoot, I don't have descriptions, I don't have like all of that, it is not at all hard to go back in just like I did with a little edit button and add a description to the board. Like you may even just schedule 30 minutes once a week for the next month to say, I'm going to go back in and put board descriptions into my boards, or make sure that my names of my boards are SEO specific so that I'm getting more traffic and more engagement within that. Okay. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about with the beginners piece, and then I'm going to kind of like pause and come back and do an intermediate session, okay? I'm going to say put your boards in a kind of order so that your blog board is at the top. So, and it may just be like personal thing for me, but I do like scour Pinterest looking for good content, looking for resources that I can share with my readers. I live generously, so I don't just share my stuff with them. I share all kinds of stuff with them, especially like in July, I'm going to be doing an event within my site. And so I'm looking for good bloggers to invite into that. I'm looking for good marriage resources to include and spotlight in that. And so when I find a Pinterest profile, it may be an amazing blogger, but if I can't figure out which board is their blog content, I'm out, because I don't want to look through every board trying to guess. So make it easy for people. You're not making this easy for your avatar, because she probably will never wander all the way over to your page and look at every pin. But this is for other people who may like to collaborate with you because you're awesome and you're doing a great job. So make it easy for them to find you. Name it something super simple, like the name of your blog. That way they see up here where you're blogging, they see, oh, blog posts from Hope, Joy, in Christ. That's where her content is. And I will be going in. I will be the weirdo who is stalking people on Pinterest saying, oh, wow, yep, that matches the theme of my blog party. I'm going to go check her out. So that is the basic stuff. Make sure I'm covered everything. Stop sharing, CNC. Hey, Erica. So business account, rich pins, keywords, author bio, board description, boards, and a range of words like your avatar with a goal in mind. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute and then be looking for the next one that is more intermediate Pinterest stuff. Okay.